Good morning. I think I'm live. I almost started to tell you what day it was on Prayer Tower, on Prayer Revolution. This is my page. What day is it? What today is? Today, what is today? July 3rd, which is interesting because I probably won't be here tomorrow. Now, I might do a devotion in the morning. I don't know. But Chris and I actually have our first in-person race at 7 in the morning. Well, 6:55. We'll start early because I push him in the racing chair. Y'all, I have not trained for this. But I've been walking. I've been pushing his other chair, and this will be actually easier than pushing his other chair. But I will be tired, so when I come home, I will probably put him to bed, and I will go to bed. It's probably how that's going to work. But I'm so excited to have a real live race. First one in 17 months. It's been since we actually did a live in-person race. I think we did one virtual race out at a park, and it was really good. I think we did. Maybe I should count that one. Anyway, so so I probably won't be here tomorrow, but I might do it later, or I might make one that'll publish tomorrow, but it won't really. That doesn't mean it's live though, right? That's just not the same, is it? It's just not the same if you don't see it live. That's what I am. If I watch football, I want to watch it live. I don't care if I miss the game, just give me the score, cause and not show me the highlights, cause I want to watch it live. I watched live yesterday. Venus Williams and I can't remember what guy she played with. They won the Wimbledon doubles yesterday. Man, that was an awesome match too. That was awesome. I like watching it live though. I don't want to watch it later. It's better than nothing, but it's just not doesn't have that same element. So join me live if you can get up early. But if you can't join me live, please watch me later because it's still the same stuff. It's just I like it live, right? Anyway, so I had a day yesterday filled with all kinds of good stuff. It was just a good day, and I hope you did too. I pray that you have a blessed day today, filled with all kinds of good stuff. So as I was preparing actually for the prayer tower, because I actually slept in this morning, and I was almost late for y'all. I'm still sipping on my first cup of coffee actually. Uh, but as I was preparing for prayer tower, so I was reading a few scriptures this morning, and I got stuck in this one, and I just thought I would just share it with you this morning and a couple of thoughts about it. Um, it says it's in Psalm 24, and it says, "The earth is the Lord's and all its fullness." So now just think about that a second. Let me read the next part. The world and those who dwell therein. There you go. You got a complete thought. That's a complete sentence, right? The earth is the Lord's and all its fullness. The world and those who dwell therein. We're His, and He claims us. We're already His. He says, "These are my people. These are sheep of my pasture." See, it actually says that well, they're the people of his pasture and the sheep of his hand in another psalm. And so, but it says, "The earth is the Lord and all its fullness, all it contains. The earth is God's, and you're on that earth, so you belong to Him. Whether you've come to the place to realize that or not, you belong to Him. He's watching out for you, even if you don't understand that or recognize that yet. That's okay." And this is He founded it upon the seas. He established it. Let me see. I'm gonna run over to Job real quick because in Job, um, I believe it's in Job. I don't know. I love the. I know y'all know I love the creation passages. So you might just take some time today to read the other chapter in Job where God describes the creation process uh, in His words to Job, and He says, "Where were you when I laid the foundations of the earth?" Wow. Just think about God establishing the earth and putting it in just the right spot. He created the universe and made a functional universe that continues to sustain itself, right? Tell me if you have understanding. I'm in Job 38. Who determined its measurements? Who determined how far the earth was? How do you do that kind of calculus, right? How far the earth is from the sun, how big of a rotation it's got to make, how it's got to rotate do its it's a revolution around the sun and the rotation, right? A rotation around the sun and the revolution in in its same spot. So it's making 24 hours. It goes makes a complete revolution, and then in 365 days it goes all the way around the sun. Who determined those measurements? Who determined how far the Earth had to be? Because if it's any further, it's not the temperatures aren't conducive for an environment to sustain life. If it's any closer to the sun, it's too hot, and the environment's not conducive to sustain life. It's in the perfect spot. God's amazing. I'm going to go science nerd right now. Who determined its measurements? Surely you know, he says to Job. Or who stretched the line on it? That's a measuring line. To what are its foundations fastened? What holds the earth in place? There's not a big string hanging to the sun that holds it out there and makes it go around. We used to have a toy like that, right? Or who laid its cornerstone? When the morning stars sang together and all the sons of God shouted joy, where were you? Who has shut in the sea with doors when it burst forth and issued from the womb? When I made the clouds its garment, the thick darkness its swaddling band, when I fixed my limit for it and set bars and doors and said, you can come this further, that's where your waves stop. So he set the oceans in place and the seas in the place, and he said, that's your place. You can't leave. You got to stay right there. And there's even more. He says, have you commanded the morning? Think about that. He commands the morning. It says his mercies are new every morning. I need his mercies to be new every morning because I got a lot of stuff going on here and here. My heart and my head, for those listening and not watching. I got lots in my heart and lots in my head, especially this morning. I am just full. And yet he has mercy for me to make today. So this is God. So the earth is the Lord's, back in Psalm 24, and all its fullness, the world and all those who dwell therein. He has founded it on the seas and established it on the waters. Who may ascend into the hill of the Lord? Who gets to this? David's kind of saying, who gets to go to God's house? We're talking about this creator that fashioned man after his own image. Man, and I mean mankind. Don't get hung up on silly terms, guys. He fashioned mankind in his image. Who gets to go talk to this God? Who gets to go see this God? Who gets to go to God's house today? Who gets to ascend to that hill? Who can stand in his holy place? Who gets to see God face to face? David answers his own question. He's going, who gets to play with God today? Who gets to go talk to him today? Who gets to go to his house today? Let's go visit with God today. But who gets to do that? And he says, he who has clean hands. So he answers his own question, right? He who has clean hands and a pure heart. He who has not lifted up his soul to an idol or sworn deceitfully. So when we have clean hands, when we pursue him from a pure heart, when we pursue him from just as we take him seriously and pursue him out of truth, and we look to his mercy, we look to his grace, we look to the sacrifice of his son, all of those things, we come before him with a pure heart, not trying to get something from him. The New Living says, who may climb the mountain of the Lord? Who can stand in his holy place? Only those whose hands and hearts are pure, who do not worship idols and don't tell lies. Well, that's pretty simple. That's pretty simple. Those are some really basic things. And so the good thing, though, on this side of the cross is that Jesus became our righteousness for us. So when we accept that sacrifice and we let him clothe us in his righteousness, now that doesn't mean we're relieved of the responsibility of keeping our hands and mind and hearts pure before him. But he makes us righteous. So when we come before God, he sees us as righteous because of Christ's sacrifice that clothed us in his righteousness. He didn't just, it's not our righteousness. It's not our armor, but we're clothed in the righteousness of God. And that's 1 Corinthians 1:30 says he made unto him righteousness, wisdom for us. So he's righteousness, and we stand in that righteousness. And then since we're clothed in that righteousness, we just live in it. So we keep our hands clean. We keep a pure heart. That's not that hard. It's not like a big long checklist. Oh, let's see. Is my heart pure? Have I done this? Did I pray long enough? Did I read long enough? Was I not? I said something yesterday I shouldn't have said. That's okay. That's okay. It doesn't mean that we fall out of grace with God. He covers us. And then we do want to have a pure, we want to seek him with a pure heart. It's not that, just out of a truth. I want his truth. I want his presence. I want his word. I want him in my life. We seek him out of a pure heart, from a pure place, like a child looks to a father or a mother or another adult that they respect. But it's like that child looks to that father. There's a purity in that. Help me, the child says. Even if he doesn't say that, the child is looking to that father to direct him, to help him, to teach him, to lead him. And there's a pureness there. That's how we look to God. We don't look to him when we're trying to do unrighteousness, because we can practice unrighteousness. We can practice it. But if we practice unrighteousness, we're not really seeking Him with a pure heart. So if we seek Him with a pure heart, I'm getting off, sorry, I'm to my 10 minutes, with a pure heart and clean hands, don't lift up our soul to any idol. In other words, we're not looking to any other source for our righteousness. We're not looking to any other source for our provision. We're not looking for another God. There's not one. We're not going to find one, but we're not looking. We're not even looking, right? Those who have clean hands seek Him with a pure heart. Don't lift up our souls to another God, to another idol, to look to anything else to be in place of God. He will receive blessing from the Lord. Amen. That's awesome. And righteousness from the God of his salvation. Then it says this. This is Jacob, the generation of those who seek Him, who seek His face. So we are that generation who are seeking Him. We are that generation standing in His righteousness. This has been this way all along, right? We're still part of that generation. We're seeking Him in righteousness. We seek Him. We seek His face. And we get to go to His house. Who gets to go to God's house? We do. When we seek Him, when we earnestly seek Him, He says, come on over. Come sit on the porch. Let's have some tea. Let's talk. He loves us. He loves for us to seek Him. He loves for us to come in His presence. He doesn't stand there with a clipboard going, "Oh, you messed up yesterday, so you can come back tomorrow. We'll see you." Nope, you have said a bad word yesterday. Nope, nope. No, He welcomes us with open arms and says, "I love that you came here to see me. Sit down. Let's talk a while. Sit down. Let me give you some truth. Let me let me pour my mercies on you so you can make it one more day. I got you." So let's all go to Daddy's house today. Let's go to the Father's house today. We can go to Him. Oh, there's an old song I almost started to go to, but I won't. I'll spare you. So who gets to go to His house? When we have a clean hands, we seek Him out of a pure heart. He has the mercy and the grace and the peace for us to make it today. I pray that grace and peace are multiplied. Mercy and peace and grace are multiplied to you today, and that you have a blessed day. Take some time to sit on the porch with Daddy God today and let Him touch your heart. I won't see you tomorrow because I'll be at a race. I'll see you Monday.